We all shouted, "Crucify him." Just a few moments ago, we were part of a crowd, part of a mob mentality, a part who had gotten something so wrong, that was so filled with the desire for violence and annihilation of someone, or something that represented something different than I. We were all part of it, and we shouted, "Crucify him, crucify him." And every year when I do that, my heart sinks. I just can't believe it, that I could have been drawn up into a moment with people who thought that they indeed were doing what was right, when all that they were really doing was pushing away from what Jesus offered: a new life, a new way of being, a new way of loving each other. But in order to get to that new way, the crowd knew they had to give up a lot. They had to give up their own prestige and their power and their privilege. All of those things that are still a part of our world right now. Sometimes we can be so wrongly convicted. We can believe that the old way, the way of things as they were, is the way that they should always be. And every time we do that, we ignore the fact that God is breaking in, that there is a new kingdom about to be birthed in our hearts and in our lives. And this sense of violence, this sense of trying to annihilate or attack or bring what some might see justice, but it's actually death to someone, just because they are offering us something that we think we don't need or that we don't want. We have this going on in our own souls when I think about screaming out, "Crucify him," even though it's just a passion play, and I know I'm not really there, part of the crowd in Jerusalem, but it still grabs my heart that I could even say those words. And when I do that, and I know that something has gone terribly wrong, something terribly wrong with my own soul, and something terribly wrong with the soul of our world. We see this all the time. We see this in the news. We see it in the politics. We saw it at the Capitol steps when people started out in a peaceful way, and suddenly life took on a whole new turn. And suddenly there was violence and people died. Suddenly, those seeds of violence, of angst, of turmoil, of chaos erupted. It is true. The Passion always reminds us, it is true, that those seeds of evil, those seeds of protecting what was, even when it is not just, the seeds of holding on to our own benefit, our own way that we like our world to be, those are all within us, and they can erupt and cause damage in a heartbeat. And yet, the seeds of Jesus' resurrection are also within us. Jesus' crucifixion, of course, led to his resurrection, and that created this brand new process that allowed each one of us to hold within us something that counteracts that evil that can be found. So within us, because Jesus rose for a reason, Jesus rose so that we can also have the seeds of love and compassion and empathy and listening to the other, and understanding that yes, we can be open to the Spirit of God. Yes, we can see and become the resurrected life. We can search for that abundant life for all people. We can hear it from God through our prayer, through our actions, through our thinking, through our reading, through our conversations, and we most certainly can hear it as we listen to those who have a differing point of view. Now, we all know Jesus had to die by crucifixion in order for the resurrection to have the power that it did. But you can certainly see in that time of Jesus, there was no conversation between those who were opposite him, those who saw him as a threat. So the religious authorities of the day and the Roman emperor, all of those people just wanted to get rid of that which was not of them. And yet what we have to understand is those seeds of violence that allowed us to say, "Crucify him, crucify him." That is the other. That is that which is within us that is not of God. And so our work as we say these words, as we enter into Palm Sunday, is to sit with the knowledge that we also have the seeds of resurrection. And how do we grow them and nurture them and allow them to be all that we can be, that we can be God's fully and utterly dedicated to the way of life and love for us, but only also for all people. Amen.